Hello and welcome to yet another wonderful episode of the Dark Match. I am Backlash here to bring you this special edition, 5-hour-long episode of Dark Match regarding TNA Impact. With me as always are...
Hi, I'm Ironbite, and I'd much rather be playing D&D than reviewing Impact.
I am Subrick, and I am doing this in my underwear.
And I am Janus, and we as tradition says, we must start this Impact review with what's Ultimate Warrior tweeting now. And I will say that the first thing that Ultimate Warrior tweeted was an incredibly disturbing thing about Benoit that we're not even going to touch. However, he did do this other thing, which is very funny. So, lunch! You want to be ripped? Eat clean, always! No junk food tastes as good as a Warrior's washboard ad! Look and feel!
By the way, I'd like to point out that half of on Wendy's dollar menu is 50% growth hormones, so...
My God!
Worth keeping in consideration.
I'm still fairly strong despite having, never exercised in my life. I eat a lot of Wendy's.
Even though, just listening to what we chose for the Ultimate Warrior tweet is just, I think I wanted to do the Benoit one because that at least had some coherency to it.
Yes, but it was really fucking disturbing.
Yeah, and it was because we don't want to go here.
The one time we get a coherent Sheik tweet, he does something fucking crazy.
You mean Warrior tweet, because Sheik is never coherent.
No.
So
Impact, how about that?
I know I said that I'd much rather be playing D&D than reviewing Impact, but, even though that's true and all, there's some moments when Impact is okay.
Yes, and then there are some moments where it is face-meltingly awful, but we'll get to that.
Although right up front, I'm going to say this Impact overall, shockingly good. I have a lot less to complain about on this Impact than I do on most Impacts. That still leaves me with a lot to complain about.
Jingus, that's because when we were all watching it yesterday, most of us were bullshitting around and not actually watching the show.
Yeah, my case was out.
Until somebody pointed out,
you go first, then I will.
Okay, fine. Impact. Yeah. When the best part of last week's Impact was those fucking clowns Sting can now summon because he has magical powers. you kind of want them back because, there's something wrong with your product.
It's interesting when you think of, either the Undertaker's Druids or the fake Stings who came out in droves in late WCW, or the evil clowns now. Hey, Russo wrote all of those, and the Anonymous Ninjas who kidnapped Joe, which was never explained. So,
it's all shit.
Any time they just summon random dudes out of the woodwork, it tends to be Russo. How about that?
Yeah, we are all familiar with the hell that is Vince Russo booking, but
it's not really a hell of Vince Russo booking, because believe it or not, Vince Russo can book a decent show when he's got a nice filter going. A filter going. Hey,
Vince Russo is good at starting shit. He is lousy at finishing it.
Yeah.
Has he ever finished anything?
Filter.
Yeah.
There are so many different answers that you can put on that question.
Anyway, to prevent this from going longer than Impact itself, let's start off with the show. At Backlash, why don't, since you are the only one here who doesn't love the sound of his own voice like a midnight lover, why don't you play moderator and just lead us from segment to segment? We opened with
Sting coming out to the ring with And he's still crazy Joker Sting, even though he's gotten his title back, which apparently I guess part of me was just kind of hoping that was the problem with Sting. Like, my title, I am nothing without my title. I must go insane! And I'm going insane right now just thinking about it, but no, Sting's still nuts. And then Kurt Angle comes out, still in the fucking clown mask. Basically another match for Hardcore Justice. I still can't believe they're calling it that.
It's better than Hard Justice.
How? A solid 40 seconds with no interruptions. Well done, gentlemen.
I know. It's amazing.
We must not.
Go ahead. I'll say what I need to say after you.
We must not forget that this is Joker Sting. He metamorphosized from Brandon Lee into Heath Ledger.
He sounds more like Jack Nicholson to me.
He sounds more like
the Tim Burton's Joker.
He sounds a lot.
He's got the Heath Ledger makeup though.
Yeah, he's got the Ledger makeup, but it's much more a cross between Nicholson and Romero in how he's delivering these lines, and somehow it comes out sounding like Jim Carrey.
But the real question, here's the real question: who has the worst Jack Nicholson impression? Sting or the one guy from the first Lost in Cleveland segment?
That guy in the Lost in Cleveland segment, easily. Sting beats him, no problem. Incredibly obscure reference out there.
Just a little bit.
If you haven't read Mick Foley's first book, Have a Nice Day, go buy it right the fuck now.
Okay.
I think the point we're trying to get across is that Sting has no idea who the fuck he's supposed to be impersonating.
And it doesn't help with the announcers calling him the insane icon and calling the clowns the evil clowns. Even WWE is more subtle than this. Don't just come out and say, hey, I'm Relic, it's killer spelled backwards. A little bit of elegance, guys.
A little bit of subtlety. You
don't need to put it directly on the nose all the time.
You know, the amazing thing about this segment is not only is Sting admitting, hey, I'm insane, and you know, it's great to be insane. No, it's not. I mean, I've seen.
We're all halfway there. We know it's not fun.
Right. I mean, I've seen really insane people. They're not having fun.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a brief tangent counter one. There's a guy named Larry Goodman who's a wrestling reviewer who used to be the official reviewer for Wildside, NWA Wildside. He was there every week, and he went to a bunch of other indie feds across the South, and he's a really sharp guy. And but the one thing, his pet peeve was insanity gimmicks because he worked at a mental institution. And he saw that kind of shit and how it really hurt people day after day. And so when he went to these wrestling shows and they showed their funny bullshit version of mental illness, that always bothered him.
Yeah, well, but we are talking about Vince Russo booking, which has all the tech of your average Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Kurt comes out, like we said before, Kurt came out in the clown mask, which, you know, creepy as fuck. Just creepy as fuck. And they have.
I do like the kind of the beard with Angle. I think that suits him in the current gimmick.
And Sting
isn't he supposed to be training for the Olympics and not pretending to be a clown?
Let's go.
Don't know anymore. But you know, Sting and Kurt basically say, "Hey, we respect each other. Great." And out comes Immortal to the shittiest music I have ever heard.
Their new music? This is lame. This is bad. I don't recall hearing it before.
It was like they came out to somebody was banging on a Casio keyboard in the most annoying setting possible.
I mean, it's like, guys, Jimmy Hart would make you better music than this. What the hell?
I mean, I'm listening to this, I'm going, what the fuck? And out comes Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson.
I was actually calling it the other night. It's basically Immortal's new theme, done by Keyboard Cat.
I believe it. Bully Ray and Anderson basically say that in 2 hours, Kurt and Sting, because they have this dilemma thing, Kurt and Sting better learn how to work together, because in 2 hours they got a match with us. Because and Bully Ray basically says, I worked hard on this ab. I didn't appreciate when you hit me in the ab there, Kurt, with this black baseball bat. And it was
he kept saying that, yeah.
You're admitting that you've got a ab.
Well,
and I don't know why. I don't know why.
When he first started, Bubba Ray Dudley did used to be 400 pounds. I mean, he is in much better shape now than he has been in the past.
But still, he is a fat bastard.
I mean, that's just an odd thing, an odd choice of words.
It really is.
It's one of those things where it's like, is that a backstage joke? Because that feels like an in joke, which is thrown towards somebody because they are very specifically harping on something which the regular audience does not get. And it sounds weird that we're doing nothing but complaining about this above-average episode of Impact because it's bookended by crap. The worst thing.
Here's the saddest part. Here's the saddest thing. 10 years ago, Bubba Ray Dudley was in the best ladder match ever at WrestleMania 17. 10 years later, he's got a bad fake Brooklyn accent talking about his one muscle.
Yeah, that is amazing. Backlash, would you like to lead us into the...
And Devon just sort of magically disappeared from existence.
Yeah, what the hell happened?
Oh, we'll get back into Devon a little
still
bit.
Around. We actually have to, because next we're talking about the Bound for Glory series, because the next match in that is Scott Steiner versus Rob Van Dam. And this match was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'll give you that.
Oh, I thought they had a pretty decent match.
Rob Van Dam, though.
It went a little bit longer than it needed to. I thought they could have wrapped it up sooner. They'd already made their point. But yeah. I think their clash of styles actually worked well together. And the thing is, if you've seen Scott Steiner's older stuff, back in the Steiner Brothers heydays, he was basically a spot fest guy. He was throwing big moves, big power moves, taking big bumps, jumping off the top rope. And so he knows that kind of shit that Rob does, actually. I mean, they are closer together in style than you might think. Mm-hmm. And they clicked pretty well.
It was a good match. And one of the things I did like about it is they didn't, okay. This whole Bound for Glory series is kind of stupid, but I'll get into that. Yeah. I'll get into why I think it's really fucking stupid later on.
There's time for that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But I need to really harp on this when we get to that particular segment. It's actually, again, like the show, it's bookended by crap. You start off with the surprise attack by Scott Steiner interrupting RVD's little ring entrance, and you end it with Scott Steiner attacking RVD after RVD wins. Spoilers there. Not like I care. But
yeah, spoilers. It happened. It's done.
Yeah, it happened. But it was. But between Scott Steiner attacking and Scott Steiner attacking, they had a very good match. Even though RVD is probably tired as all fuck hell because I wouldn't say it was very good. I'd say that it was okay. And even then, I'd put most of it on Rob Van Dam because I generally like most of what he does, and not to mention that Scott Steiner has gotten really, really limited in the last little while.
Well, that's just Scott Steiner is absolutely busting his ass and doing everything he possibly can do out there, given the limitations of age, size, and injury.
That's true.
And steroidals. And all that juice is fucking with him.
Pretty much
fits in what I said. Yeah, I mean, age, size, and injuries. That's the deal.
Right. I could add things to this, but I think you guys have touched on plenty of it.
Although one thing I loved was when Steiner, that inexplicable thing that Steiner always does, and it kind of always bothers me, where he does the elbow drop and then he goes off the pin and starts doing the push-ups. Brian Hebner was in the middle of counting, and on one hand starts doing one-handed push-ups with him, mirroring him, and I don't know why, but that was amusing the hell out of me. The image of those two going up and down was hilarious.
And Brian, I think Brian,
someone needs to make an animated GIF of that.
If you really just want to suspend belief, Brian Hebner was basically going, Scott, you could have won this match. What the hell are you doing? As they're doing the push-ups, and Scott's going, I can do whatever the hell I want. And then Scott finally realizes, wait a second here. He got up into Hebner's face like, that is my thing. You do not do that thing ever. And then RVD rolls him up.
Yeah, that was the exact storyline they told there, and they didn't even have to say it with words. That's my point. That's when you do the wrestling right. You get it across in an inarticulate fashion. That's exactly what they did. That's what they meant. That was the intended message, and it worked.
Mm-hmm. Backlash, take us on to the next segment.
So, well, first we have to point out, they bring up the points for the Bound for Glory series. Crimson is still in the lead with 31 points, and there is a three-way tie for second place. Because RVD is now tied with Gunner and Devon with 21 points apiece. What the fuck
Where did Devon
is the
go?
booking decision beside this? I do not understand. They're trying...
Two things. Two wonderful things about that list. One, where the fuck did Devon go? And two, Samoa Joe is at the very, very bottom.
At 0 points!
I'm going to get into this when we get to Samoa Joe, but let's just say there's some Raptor rage coming.
Probably the two most talented people in this whole fucking series, Pope and Samoa Joe, are at the very bottom, while at the very top we have fucking Gunner and Crimson.
Pope still works here?
Crimson's on top. At least Crimson's on top.
Pope still works here?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I can't believe it either.
Anyways, he's been relegated to, dark matches before fucking Explosion.
He's been doing Explosion. But now it's time for Hardcore Country.
Here's something. Mickey James.
Horrible tonight. He looked
exactly.
Like 50 fucking years old. Okay.
She looked okay.
She looked like a Jersey Shore wannabe.
Thank you. That's exactly what she looked like. She looked like she wanted to be in the Jersey Shore, but just couldn't make it.
I think Russo's daughter strikes again.
I'm not seeing this, guys. I thought she looked fine.
You know something? You know what else she looked like?
Wow, that says a lot about you I didn't want to know.
She looked like you know how you go to like a diner and like a little rundown 8-person diner and all the waitresses look dumpy. All the waitresses look dumpy as hell.
And then there's that one hot waitress who has her hair piled up for no reason. Yeah, that was Mickey James.
That was, yes. She looked like an 80s waitress.
But anyways, she comes out and she challenges Velvet Sky to a match because Velvet Sky is apparently the epicenter of the whole Knockouts division, despite the fact she never goes over, despite being in 50 fucking angles at one time.
This can't be Velvet Sky's first title shot. Is that right?
No, it's not first title shot. She's had one before, I think.
I think she's even been a Knockouts champion at one.
I don't think she's
like 2 seconds.
No,
really?
I think Knockout Tag Champion maybe.
Oh yeah, she's been Knockout Tag Champion. That's sad.
And meanwhile, Angelina Love has won the title 4 goddamn times.
No. As Angelina Love will tell us, she's won it 5 damn times. Oh God. In the middle, Mickey James and Velvet Sky basically have the female version of Kurt Angle and Sting that we had, at the
exact same angle again.
And they have the big respect. Oh, I respect you. No, I respect you. No, I respect you. And out comes Angelina and Winter, and Angelina can talk again. Praise the devil?
Well, she's been talking for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I guess they just decided to drop the entire drug thing. They're just like, yeah, that was a bad idea. Forget about it.
Well, not to mention that Winter was challenging Sheamus in the paleness department.
Oh God. Basically, Angelina comes out, and by the way, this is the second gay joke of the night, because Ken Anderson basically accused Sting and Kurt Angle of being lovers, and basically told Mickie James and Velvet Sky to hold hands and go get a hotel room.
Which, coming from the most les-yay couple in the entire company, I mean, was that intentional?
I think it was. It was just. Mickie brought up a good point earlier in the promo when, basically everybody, when ODB and Jackie came in and basically blamed Velvet for, what the fuck ever. And here comes Angelina saying, there's one common thing with all the knockouts. They all hate me. What?
Yeah. And we'll get to that later and some of Russo's issues with women. But I just looked it up here, and no, Velvet Sky has never been Knockouts champion, but yes, she has had a lot of title shots before.
Okay, so that's great. But
getting back to that after this promo, we see Tara and Miss Tessmacher backstage getting jumped by Sarita and Rosita. And as we mentioned last week, Sarita has partial facial paralysis and is she's having to perform injured. So she's wearing what they said was a luchador mask, but no, it's a rejected Abyss mask.
From 2 years ago.
Hang on, what's this? Because the facial paralysis thing is new to me. How did she contract this?
We don't know. There's like 6 different stories. Some say she took a bad bump. Some say she has Bell's palsy. It's all over the place. But she cannot move the left side of her face.
The official reason,
and she still has to wrestle. And they're still making her wrestle.
It's TNA. Of course she still has to wrestle. They're not going to fucking pay for it.
Here's the official line from TNA. Because they showed footage of this before they came out for the match that they'll have like immediately following this segment. Tessmacher and Tara had a war of words last week with Sarita and Rosita, which led to a big knockout brawl with a Sarita body double, by the way, because you never see her fucking face. Not that it would matter, because, hey, this was shot in the dark from one camera. And
yeah, this is one of those, come on, guys, just let us see what's going on. Yeah, orbital bone and jaw broken, which, if true, they would not be wrestling. That's not something you can... That is something the doctors would say, fuck you, go to the hospital instead of to the ring.
Yeah.
So that is a lame excuse. They should have said something, some kind of facial injury to where you could have come up with something. I mean, say a burn on her face or something. I have no idea exactly what, but something better than broken fucking face where you should be in the hospital.
Oh, yeah. During the segment, however, Madison Rayne comes in and jumps Tara, which allows Rosita and Sarita to drag Tessmacher off camera to have their wicked way with her. No, I'm not trying to be sexual, by the way. Literally, that's what I saw. And then referees show up and we get out of that segment.
Because it's not Impact if you don't have multiple chick backstage brawls.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Especially one that goes through the commercial break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the only thing that goes through the commercial break. Not a match, just this.
Yeah. Because I want to see the drama that is Tara Madison Rayne. No.
Also, we made light of this in the Skype chat on the show yesterday. Yesterday being that before we recorded this. But apparently Sarita is compensating for not being able to show her face by wearing a sexy as fuck outfit. Black leather and chains.
Yeah. I did notice she had the only worthwhile outfit of the others out there. Everybody else was like generic brunette with generic wrestling two-piece outfit. Sarita was the only one who stood out as looking different, and I like that. I mean, it's a shame that this fucking facial paralysis, which has failed everybody from Jim Ross to what's his name, the actor who played Wesley Wyndham-Pryce. But I know who you mean. People get that occasionally, and apparently it just affects the face, and that sucks because. Although, thankfully, they have the mask gimmick, and actually, she has worked as a masked luchadoress before. I've called back in my indie days. I called a couple of matches with her when she was working under a mask, doing a gimmick called the Dark Angel. So she's used to it at least. So thankfully, I mean, it sucks that this happened, but thankfully, it's a minor enough thing that they have some way to cover for it.
Oh, pretty much. Backlash next segment.
The next segment is actually a Knockouts tag title match, which will be one of I'm going to say 4 titles that's being featured on this show. It's Sarita and Rosita versus Tara and Miss Tessmacher. And right off the bat, I'm going to say this was a decent match.
It was chaotic. It was just brawling back and forth, basically.
It was. The beginning is just so out of character for faces. It's not even funny. Tessmacher and Tara come out first. And then hide on either side of the entrance tunnel.
Well, it's shades of gray, brother.
When Sarita and Rosita come out and do their little sexy little we're cousins, but we can be sexual with each other salsa dance, they attack them, and this is what made me uncomfortable. They continuously did spots with Sarita that involved smashing her face into steel things.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I noticed that too. It's like because the paralysis in shoot terms, that's not going to do anything. It's a nerve issue, and it has it doesn't matter. Punch her in the face all you want. That's not going to have much of an impact. In the storyline they were telling, as I mentioned earlier, that's where saying broken jaw and orbital bone fucks you because. In theory, they should be, this should be a girl with her jaw wired together and with, a piece of, like Vader has, like a piece of steel put in her fucking eye socket and being knocked out of place again.
Yeah. And instead you see Tessmacher just bashing Sarita's face over and over. Yeah. This was huge... It made no sense. They could have
explained the entire thing if it's like, hey, one of the other girls threw a fireball at Sarita.
Yeah. Oh, it's a burn face.
Problem solved. And you don't have to feel bad for feeling sympathy for the heel.
Yeah. But then the match itself, never gets, it just doesn't go anywhere. It just meanders everywhere.
It was okay for the most part, mostly because Tara was basically carrying Miss Tessmacher to this match. But
Tessmacher is all right. Tessmacher is better than I would have expected her to be, and the other 3 are competent. And it was just the one thing I liked. They did make you legitimately believe that these women don't like each other. These two sets of girls just hate each other and want to beat the fuck out of each other, and they got that across.
Glorious. Winners and new knockout tag team champions.
Well, hang on, you skip a little bit because what always happens in a knockouts tag team match? There's a ref distraction plus interference.
Yeah,
and 99% of the time they blow it.
And the finish this way, it worked nicely because it was worked into the match. What looked like was going to be a stupid, badly done, blown finish was an intentional spot. They were like working off of their own history of their own fuck-ups prior to where one of the heels had, I forget which was which, one of the heels had one of the baby faces pinned, and the referee was being distracted for way too long, and he had to run over there, and I thought, oh, God, this just looks embarrassing for everybody, and then she kicked out.
Yes,
because the referee had been over there for way too long, and then they just went to a clean finish.
Okay, this match I'm not actually a fan of, and here's why. Yes, Miss Tessmacher was getting her ass handed to her all over the place, but eventually it got to the point where it's Rosita and Miss Tessmacher in the ring together. every time Tessmacher comes even close to Tara, Tara keeps getting knocked off the ring because Sarita would just run across the ring and kick her in the gut, taking her out. And every time this happens, like, oh God, what the hell is going on here? Earl Hebner yells at Sarita, and Sarita goes, heh. Finally, Tara's like, you know what, fuck this. And intentionally gets out of her corner, hits Sarita, hits Rosita, grabs Tessmacher, drags her into their own corner, and this starts a clusterfuck of moves.
I like that spot though. That is
it was nice to see, but still, it was just
And then it did get chaotic, and they lost control for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Tessmacher tried to bust out an acid drop, didn't quite get it. It was more like a top rope stratisfaction.
Well, she got it just fine.
This isn't this isn't a Bella Twin versus fucking, Alicia Fox we're talking about kind of botch here. They did okay.
I'm just saying she didn't quite get the move off like, say, Spike Dudley used to hit it.
I like to view Miss Tessmacher as like Eve Torres with 10, maybe 15% more talent.
I consider her the Kelly Kelly of TNA because she's always trying to learn. But
she can't run the ropes.
Yeah.
Plus, much like Kelly Kelly, Miss Tessmacher is terrible at running the ropes.
Yes. Like we said earlier, it was Tara had Sarita all by her alone, sets her up for the Widow's Peak. Out comes Madison Rayne, who attacks Tara while Earl is dealing with Rosita and Tessmacher, and Sarita calls him out. You actually hear, Earl, get over here! And he's like, oh crap. Gets the 2 count, and then Tara hits Sarita with an A-bomb.
Yes,
goes to the pin, and Miss Tessmacher rolls up Rosita in a schoolgirl.
Yeah, that part was weird. She should have just like front face locked her and kept her from interfering. But I mean, the late schoolgirl just looked odd.
It looked odd.
All right, so we have new Knockouts Tag Champs. Is that all we have to say? Because I know you all want to get it on to the next spot. We've been talking about this. It's the next in the Bound for Glory series. AJ Styles versus Gunner versus Matt Morgan versus Samoa Joe in a ladder match. Winner gets 10 points.
And half off chicken wings.
Oh, yes. It was because what they have on the ladder. We all thought it was a contract at first. No, it's a coupon good for 10 points. And I'm pretty sure that it was also good for half off chicken wings. Why Samoa Joe was not more motivated,
that's why
I will never understand.
Well, probably because he had a
Samoa Joe got to the point where not even half off of chicken wings at his local Popeyes can motivate him.
I don't know.
It was as
more
local grocery
as a seafood guy, you know.
No wonder that Steve Austin is campaigning to get him signed over Twitter. He's looking at this shit and he's thinking, just like, this is talent being fucking wasted horrendously.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to say...
Here's the thing. Although you look at this lineup and you see these guys in a fucking ladder match, and worse yet, the same week as Money in the Bank, and this was less terrible than I expected it to be, honestly. I mean, it was quick, it was short, it was inoffensive, it made its point. They did a couple of cool spots. Everybody got, I mean, even Gunner didn't blow anything. And they did okay. It was inoffensive. It was there.
Even still, however, it was still a ladder match. It was still a ladder match for no reason. They could have just made this a fatal four-way and said, this is a special match. This will be worth 10 points. Having a ladder match in there has no purpose.
But sometimes the TNA swears for sort of sake, stipulations happened, and AJ did a couple of fucking cool spots with that ladder. The Spider-Man bounce, I mean, how fucking casual did that look? That's like, yes, I have done this 100 times, kind of jump onto that ladder.
That's
That was the first time. That was actually the first time I saw AJ do the Spider-Man jump into the ladder.
I basically view this as TNA filming this, basically knowing it's going on right after Money in the Bank. So, we'll show WWE how to do ladder matches. And ironically, it was good, but it wasn't as good as the Money in the Bank matches. And ironically enough, WWE is currently saying, "Hey TNA, here's how you do your storylines."
Yeah,
We'll get to that tomorrow.
Yeah,
at least
you've got 3 heavyweights, and okay, AJ Styles is probably the best guy in the world for a ladder match, but he's in there with 3 heavyweights. You can only do so much, and everybody did everything they could. That fucking the STO out of the corner was awesome. It reminds me of why I used to be a Samoa Joe, Mark. You know, Matt Morgan was looking actually impressive, which is something that doesn't happen often. Gunner was okay. Put a personality on this guy. Give me a reason to care about him because he's not a bad worker.
This is the part where
Speaking of Gunner, much like Devon, did Murphy just sort of vanish into nothing?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh no.
This is the part of the show that I have to engage in Raptor Rage because Matt Morgan wins the match, single-handedly.
Nobody has given a shit about Matt Morgan ever. He hasn't even been. Has he done anything since fucking Victory Road? Even.
Nope.
They keep kind of Sheamus pushing him, and
not even letting him touch the title like they did with Sheamus. That's not what's got my rage up. It's not the fact that Matt Morgan is in a 3-way tie for second place.
Actually, no, he's in second place alone now because he has 24 as opposed to 21.
Oh, okay. So he's in the standings for if they were to do Sacrifice tomorrow, the 2 spots have already been filled. Okay. It's at the bottom of the leaderboard. I'm talking about Mr. Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
TNA, when Samoa Joe first showed up in
05.
In 05, when he showed up, he was
years.
This monster of a guy. I mean, he literally was making bitches tap. He was feuding with AJ Styles. He was feuding with Christopher Daniels. He was doing everything to be a monster. And the WWE saw this, and this is just how I'm interpreting it, by the way, is they look at this and they were like, oh crap, we need to do something about it. So they brought out Umaga, okay? They brought out Umaga as the Samoan bulldozer, and suddenly, oh wow, they're just ripping off Samoa Joe. And it was like, and they gave Joe the X Division title, they gave him this monster push, and then Kurt Angle showed up.
Yeah.
And since then,
killed right ahead.
And since then, Samoa Joe has been on this just downhill tumble. It's at this point in his career, he's got to be looking at his time in TNA and going, "What the fuck have I been thinking?" And this is the best example of this is the fact that he's tied for last place with the Pope.
Yeah.
He's tied for last place with the Pope. Pope don't care.
There's no reason.
Doesn't give a fuck about where he is in this Bound for Glory series. But it's gonna. I mean, we've got Hardcore Justice coming up, and then we've got Sacrifice. I just want to see Samoa Joe win one fucking thing in this Bound for Glory series. And the fact that he's not, and the fact that Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the man who a lot of people look up to and go, wow, that guy was wrestling, and he's going, hey, look, the WWE needs to sign Samoa Joe, like, yesterday. He's just going, wow. Just wow. But TNA is like, he's fat and ugly and he's Samoan. Job him out. Just job him out.
The question is, The real question is, where was Austin earlier in the year when Samoa Joe was in contract negotiations with TNA to extend his contract? That's when he should have been saying this shit.
You think that Austin is online every day actually researching this shit? Steve Austin? Dude, that's a guy who's like driving his four-wheeler across his giant fucking ranch in Texas, taking his deer rifle to go shoot things and drink beer. Come on. He doesn't...
Yeah, so here's the saddest thing.
Keep on top of the fine points of legalities and contract negotiations.
Yeah, here's the saddest thing with...
noticed, Joe.
Oh. Here's the saddest thing with Samoa Joe. 6 years ago at Bound for Glory, he tapped out Jushin Liger clean in about 6 minutes. Yeah. Now he can't even beat a security guard.
Yeah.
That is just that is the saddest thing I've ever said. But there's some light at the end of this tunnel. Backlash, lead us to our favorite segment of the night.
Oh yes, because it is time for Eric Young. Eric Young is at a convenience. Eric Young is at a convenience store, and he is looking to defend his TV title. He enters the store, and there's D'Lo Brown in the back getting a Slurpee. And Eric
D'Lo Brown, by the way, has gone back to his old weight of like 350 pounds.
Oh yeah, the man
but
is
he wears it well. But he wears it well.
Well, you know what? I'm not even going to hold that against him. He's retired. He's working as a road agent, and he agreed to do this spot. And Eric mistakes him for the rapper CeeLo Green. And D'Lo tells him that Eric is acting insane and he doesn't want to go down this road. But Eric doesn't care, just rolls him up for the pin, 1, 2, 3, and successfully defends his TV title. D'Lo snaps, chases him around the convenience store in quite a comical fashion that really needed more Benny Hill. And once Eric leaves, D'Lo says he better recognize who he's messing with.
And that
is the second title featured in this show.
And two things. Here's two things. One, this seems like they're planting seeds for D'Lo to do a few matches with Eric.
I'd see it. Why not?
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, knowing TNA, this will go nowhere.
You're right. This will go nowhere.
And secondly, D'Lo's comment about how Eric is going insane makes him look really stupid, since apparently D'Lo does not know that Eric Young has fucking brain damage.
I know we harp on this almost every single week when we talk about Eric Young, but it's true. The man needs help.
Now, the way they were portraying this is that the way I saw it is that you had this wrestler going into his gimmick, going into this store, and D'Lo Brown was supposed to be out of gimmick, out of character, just a member of the office. He's like, Eric, why are you in character in public? Was what I took away from this situation, the feeling that I got.
Well, you know
that
what? It's been said this whole time that Eric Young has brain damage. I don't think when he took that fall he got brain damage. I think he hit his head and he's like, my God, I get it now. I'm in a shitty company.
Might as well have some fun.
I think of it.
But hey, it was funny. It worked.
The thing is, I mean, this is the brightest spot in TNA right now. Eric Young.
I love his Highlander beard and everything about it.
Eric Young has gone batshit crazy. I mean, and I know and here's the thing. We hyped on Sting claiming he's insane.
Yeah. And this is the right way to do wrestling crazy.
Right. This isn't like Sting's claiming, "Oh, I'm mentally handicapped." No, this is Eric Young existing within his own universe, and it is awesome. But
Backlash.
Well, moving on from that, it's time for an X Division title match: Brian Kendrick versus Alex Shelley. Jesus Christ, a lot of titles are being defended.
Mm-hmm.
And,
why is an X Division match on free TV? X Division title match, I should say.
Why do they have any type of title defense on free TV?
Why not?
Well, aside from the television title, because television
that's supposed to be defended on TV.
The one fucking title, the one title they called the television title, has not been defended on TV in over 2 months.
No, it has.
What show were you watching? Eric Young just defended it against D'Lo Brown.
Okay?
Under 24/7 rules, possibly.
I mean, come on. Eric Young, week in, week out, defends that damn title. Okay?
They're not booking him. He's booking himself.
Well, there's that. But come on. He's still fucking defending his title.
No. That's basically what he's saying. They probably don't want to book him to defend that title, so he's just like, screw you, I'll defend it myself. I'll go out there and find TV stars. I'm going to defend this title. I'm a fighting champion.
Eric Young is being TNA's version of Zack Ryder.
Yeah, basically. And that's the thing that's the hilarious thing is that this is one of those few instances where TNA has an one up over the WWE is TNA knows how to do that kind of gimmick right. They can get Eric Young over. With WWE, he's doing what the character Eric is doing on Impact.
Yep. Anyways, back to what Backlash was moving us into. X Division title match, everybody. Alex Shelley versus, I'm just going to start calling him this, and maybe they'll pick up on it. The Jedi Master, Brian Kendrick.
We can only hope. But this was actually a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Because
a lot of back and forth.
Kendrick's only problem is that he can't cut a promo the way he's trying to cut them in TNA. He's a great in-ring worker, and Shelley, I don't even think I have to say anything about his abilities.
Yeah. They did bring up the fact that both guys used the slice bread number 2, and at one point
and that was nice because
and they both tried to go for it, and they were like, "Oh no, we know how to counter our own moves." Great spot. Alex Shelley, though, I hate Taz for this because he knows better. Alex Shelley hit the outside DDT. He hit the frickin' Dragon DDT that Ultimo Dragon does on the outside, on the apron, on Brian Kendrick. And Taz was like, I don't know what that was. Some variation on the sliced bread?
No, it was supposed to be a variation of the sliced bread.
Oh, was it? I don't know.
He had his back to Kendrick. And he grabbed Kendrick's head and he flipped himself over using the ropes beside him rather than running up. That was the entire point, is that it was basically a sliced bread on the apron.
Well, it probably would have been better to me had he actually crawled up the ropes, the corner.
I mean, instead of jumping, which was weird. But they did it very, very well, and I thought it was a very cool spot. So
unfortunately,
I'm not hearing any complaints about that.
Oh,
I actually like the ending. I actually like where they were going with this.
Yeah, the ending wasn't bad. The ending is Austin Aries comes out, and basically he hang on, I got to bring up the results here.
Austin Aries comes out, hits Alex Shelley in the head with the title.
And
then he hides hilariously. I mean,
he's hiding down there, and he's just like chilling out down there. He's posing for the camera, like, "Hey, what's up?"
And they do it perfectly because he manages to he barely sneaks above the apron, and Shelley's head is right there, hits him with the title, puts the title down, and hides. And it was just very well positioned, very well done. And, Shelley rolls over into the ring selling, and Kendrick is also in the ring selling. Like, he just ate a move. He's not exactly sure what happened. He looks down, he sees Shelley lying there apparently hurt, and he just goes instinctively for the pin. 1, 2, 3.
Which was great.
And they sold it well afterwards when he was getting up. He's like, wait, what the fuck just happened? How did I beat him?
Wait, what's going on? We go to the backstage. I hate to kill Backlash's going segment to segment, but Jason Harvey asks Brian Kendrick, was that the way you wanted to win? And Brian's like, no, that's not how I wanted to win. I mean, yeah, it's no limits, but come on, this isn't what we're supposed to be. This isn't what I've been working for. It's what I've been working against. There's got to be a code. I'm guessing they want to bring some of Ring of Honor's, the code into the X Division.
Yeah, the X Division's always had a touch of that, how it's always supposed to be more about athletic competition.
Right.
And it's always kind of been that way.
I had mixed feelings about Austin Aries being the one who was picked at Destination X being there, but because personally I'd been rooting for Low Key because I thought he was the most skilled. But what the X Division really needed was this extra shot. And I think Aries is bringing that perfectly.
Yeah, I think they need to sign all 4 of those guys because they're really fucking good.
They should have, but for what it is.
Well, the crowd wanted it.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, let's move on to our next segment. This is where Rage starts to build. This is the low point of the show, everybody, because it's Mexican America coming out saying they want to challenge Beer Money for the tag team titles.
They do everything but say they lie, they cheat, they steal.
Mm-hmm. And we all know what's about...
Plus Anarchia. He looks like we all know it. He looks like a steroided version of Chavo.
Which is funny because Chavo is inevitably going to be joining this stable.
Maybe we'll get an Anarchy. Maybe we'll get an impersonation angle.
Well, good. I hope Chavo joins this stable. We'll finally get a good wrestler in there.
Hey, Hernandez isn't bad.
But I like Hernandez.
Compared to Chavo, who would you rather wrestle? I'm putting you in the ring right now. Who would you rather have? God damn it!
I can't even fucking say
I get what you're saying. Would you rather have a match with Chavo or Hernandez? Yeah. And I picked Chavo because I still have images of that fucking border toss at Doug Williams.
Yeah.
God damn.
Because, Hernandez is good when you're in there and you want somebody to do evil shit. But if you want somebody who can take care of you and have a good match without hurting you, Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah, especially me, who's never been in a wrestling ring in my fucking life. But anyways,
Chavo Guerrero could probably have a 1.5-star match with you right now.
But Beer Money comes out, and Jesus Christ, James Storm gets on the mic and says they need to shut up, leave the company, and go find something they're good at, like cutting grass.
Yeah, this is some
racist. And here's the best part about it. 2 minutes later, he completely contradicts himself and comes off as the biggest hypocrite ever. When he applauds the Guerreros and all the luchadors that came before these assholes, and saying that they're the ones who are that Mexican America is the ones that are degrading luchador history, not James Storm, the one who just stereotyped an entire fucking ethnicity.
He makes wetback jokes, and then he says, "Oh, but it's your fault that you're acting like stupid, dirty wetbacks, and you're putting Hispanics to shame."
This promo just pissed us all the fuck off.
Yeah, and then 2011, you can't get away with this kind of race baiting shit anymore. You can't do it. Stop doing it.
The only point of this promo is to say that Beer Money is facing Mexican America at Hardcore Justice. And now it's time...
Yeah, and they took a long time they took up a lot of TV time to set up that one match, by the way.
And before we get to the next segment, they're promoting the Immortal DVD. Immortal, which hasn't even been around... Immortal, which hasn't even been around for a fucking year and is largely broken up, is just now getting a DVD.
Are they even going to sell 1,000 of those things?
No, because the only original members are Bischoff, Hogan, Abyss, and Jarrett. Those are the only guys who started in Immortal that are still in Immortal. All of Fortune is gone. Jeff Hardy has been X-Pac heated off TV.
And even then, Jarrett's down in Mexico being the Mexican world champion.
Here's the problem when anybody but the WWE puts these DVDs out. DVD collectors tend to be hardcore fans. Hardcore fans tend to not want to see, the angles. They don't want to watch that stuff again. What they want to keep watching over and over again are usually the great matches. But when they put these stuff together, like the Immortal set, I'm sure what's mostly on there is footage of angles and not great matches.
I'm pretty sure on this DVD that since Immortal have not had one great match at all, there's going to be 0 fucking matches on this entire disc.
I'm sure the whole thing
I'm betting that the only match they're going to fucking put on this is Lethal Lockdown from earlier this year.
I mean, you could find enough okay stuff to put in there. You could fill up, even in TNA, you could find enough matches involving Immortal that were good to fill up a 2-hour DVD. You could do that, but why? It's just, it comes off as sad, and they put so much effort into it because they're not going to make money off of it. They're not, the amount of work they put into this is not going to give them results.
Yeah. At this rate, I'm surprised they didn't do. At this rate, I'm surprised they didn't do a fucking DVD for EV2.
All the DVD is going to be is just Hogan and Bischoff gloating about how they stole the company from Dixie. But fuck the DVD and fuck Immortal.
Yeah.
It's time for Mickie James versus Velvet Sky for the Knockouts title, which doesn't actually happen, but I'm still counting it as a title match on the show. That's 4 titles out of the 6 they have.
They do have too many titles, but you're running it into ground. This here is where we run into one of Russo's stranger issues, is that when Vince Russo writes any wrestling company, he writes that the women hate each other especially more than the men hate each other. Like practically every
bitches.
Yeah, practically every woman in the company, and even a few who aren't in the company, and stop doing that retarded gimmick, came out and brawled together, and it was chaotic, and it was interesting. I mean, basically, Mickie James and Velvet Sky come out to do their match. Angelina Love and Velvet and Winter attack first. And then various people come out. Tracy Brooks comes... Wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. ODB and Jackie come from the crowd to beat the shit out of Mickie James and Velvet Sky some more. And then Tracy Brooks comes back to make the save.
Why?
How long's it been? Where in the fuck has fucking Tracy Brooks been?
She was on a show earlier in the year, but that was just a cameo.
It's a poor reintroduction. They could have done a better job of bringing her back into it. I mean, even though the audience immediately, that was not a piped-in Tracy chant, the audience immediately recognized her and liked her.
Oh, and by the way, I have to say this because I know War Machine is waiting in the gorilla position just listening to the show. Tracy Brooks has huge fake tits.
Yeah.
That is
yes.
She does. And
she has a normal shirt on, and even still she has to use double-sided tape.
Yeah. I mean, God bless her. I mean, she has to, because I'd like to punch whoever her plastic surgeon was, because he's made her look a little bit like Skeletor.
So the brawl is your standard 6 knockout.
By the way, just plug for myself, Tracy Brooks is the only person on this show who have actually wrestled. Anyway, continue.
It's your standard 7 knockout brawl. Nothing special to it.
It wasn't even so much. It wasn't even so much that it came off as a massive clusterfuck. That's all it was. Came off as.
An attitude brawl. It was everybody fighting everybody. One thing I did really like was Jackie and ODB beating the shit out of all the security guards. It was just like, our knockouts are so damn tough that even these big guys, they go down in one shot when our knockouts hit them.
And even then, 2 things about this. One, security comes at the end, and they arrest ODB and Jackie. And earlier in the show, when
real cops, that's not security. It's real cops come in and arrest them.
Real cops. Real cops. But the other thing I was going to say, though, is that earlier in the show when they did the knockouts brawl through the commercial break, it took that security team the entire commercial break and more to figure out that there was a fight going on backstage.
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we move on to the next segment, I have been informed that we are experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Ironbite's mic has stopped
Ironbite.
working, so I'm sure there's someone back in the grill.
If Ironbite's mic starts working, he can come back in at any time. And
can someone jump in?
Do we need anybody to?
Might.
I can jump in.
Okay, we got the War Machine. So, it's time for our main events. Ken Anderson and Bully Ray versus Sting and Kurt Angle.
Fun.
The first wild thing is the Ken Anderson's entrance, because he basically does the "from Green Bay, Wisconsin," and Bully Ray cuts him off. It's like, shut up! Don't give them the satisfaction of saying you're Mr. Anderson. Let's just go to the ring and do this. And for a moment, Bully Ray became my favorite character for just a fleeting moment. But Ken Anderson
and then he does it anyway.
They're already teasing Anderson breaking up from Immortal. Of course.
I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, that was.
I don't understand. Why do they keep putting him with Immortal if they're just going to keep taking him away? I don't get the point. I mean,
because Vince Russo is bipolar like that.
Mm-hmm. I guess, but even still, there's some rationale in bipolarness.
Regardless, this match was meh. Just meh.
Yeah.
The match was so short, it was very rushed, and he didn't have time to do anything. I mean, it was just wham, bam, picky, man, get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wild. After the match, Sting and Kurt win, and after the match, they shake hands, and then they lock eyes like, oh, hardcore justice, we're gonna fight.
And then they do the stare down, yeah.
Yeah,
that was lame.
Your typical stare
End
down,
of show.
and then show ends.
Which is sad because, kind of devious. The recent Kurt Angle is looking more like Kurt Sutter, if anybody recognizes that reference. The guy who writes The Shield and Sons of Anarchy. Just recently, he's kind of got this angle of, like, hey, I really don't give a fuck. I'm kind of a sociopath. I will take you out, and I don't care. I've got the tools to do so. I'm going to grow a beard just because I don't feel like shaving. And I like that. It's a good gimmick for him. And him against crazy fucking Sting, that should work, but sticking the Immortal thing in it, it doesn't need that. Let Immortal go do something else.
You know something else about this? Sting, not once in this entire show, he always had that ridiculous Joker bug eye look with it going. That's how he sold every move. He would laugh like Heath Ledger.
And can I explain? I'm pretty sure everyone's went over this in detail already, but I really, really fucking hate this fucking Joker thing they got going on right now. And not just because it's a blatant ripoff of the Dark Knight, because honestly, I could care less about that. It's stupid. I mean, if he's just going to make a habit of ripping off comic book characters, first the Crow, now the Joker, I mean, come on.
What's next?
The Crow was...
Stop complaining, War Machine is the best thing on the show.
No, it's not. I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, Ironbite's microphone apparently he's found another one, and that has been our special guest, War Machine.
Hey.
Thanks for your contributions, Jack.
You jerks.
Well, that's what you get. All right.
So I don't think we have anything less to say. We're doing what gets more screen time than Jay Lethal, and I'm going to start. Entrance themes done by Keyboard Cat get more screen time than Jay Lethal.
That's definitely true. I'll go next. The convenience store outside of Orlando Studios that D-Lo goes to get his Slurpee gets more screen time than Jay Lethal.
This week,
Dark
we're
Match.
going to have to go... Hey, Don't interrupt me while I'm interrupting you. We're going to have to go back to an oldie but a goodie. The door frame, once again, got more screen time than Jay Lethal with the AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels thing that we didn't mention before. We forgot to, sorry.
We forgot that promos thing, didn't we?
Yeah. It was a deal where Christopher Daniels came to talk to AJ about something. We couldn't hear what they were saying. The cameramen were trying to do the door frame thing, but AJ saw them and slammed the door in their face.
It's like, no.
So for one thing, that was actually a good thing.
Yeah, it really was. I need to do this.
Tracy Brooks' gigantic fake pits get more screen time than Jay Lethal.
I hate you so much, Subrick.
Come on,
I hate you so much. I knew one of you bastards were going to do it. I knew it.
War Machine.
Oh, wow.
Don't make me get Noleaf to give you a stern talking to. So yeah, that's the dark match for this week for TNA Impact. I am Iron Bite, and like I said before, TNA makes me sad.
I am Backlash, and surprisingly, I got more screen time than Jay Lethal on this show.
I know, it's amazing.
I am Jingus, and hey, I'm just here for the ride, man.
And I am Subrick, and everybody here, including the run-ins, got more screen time than me.
Amazing.
And I'm no over, and I was still right.
I'm
God damn it,
Arrow,
let it
and he's
go.
War Machine.
All right.
And he's Arrow.
This
Wait,
is
War
my
Machine.
show.
This is
Quit ruining my show.
Hey, play music! Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Cut.
What gets more screen time than
Wait,
Jay
hold on. I just have one thing to say. I'm sorry for interrupting, but the thing you have to realize is just that one segment where ODB and what's-your-face get taken away by the cops. What the heck? Okay, I mean, I'm serious. We've had guys jumped by ninjas, hit in the back with planks of wood with nails in it, nearly killed. Sting was hit in the head with a baseball bat. Where were the cops then? Now only some people jumped the rail and got involved? Now the cops go? It's not even that serious.